Hello, everybody. We're here with President Foxman and me, Ryan. We're going to talk about Ikiru and our plans with Ikiru. It's a 1952 film, 2 hours 23 minutes, shot and directed by Akira Kurosawa, written by Akira Kurosawa, Shinobu Hashimoto, and Hideo Oguni. Stars Takashi Shimura, Nobuo Kaneko, and Shinichi Himori. So the synopsis, kind of the film we're looking at. Let's go. Kanji Watanabe, which is played by the main guy, uh, Takashi, is a civil servant. He worked in the same department for 30 years. His life is boring, monotonous, though he once used his passion and drive. Then one day he discovers that he has stomach cancer and less than a year to live. After this initial depression, he sets about living for the first time in 20 years. Now he realizes that his limited time left is not just for living life to the fullest, but to leave something meaningful behind. That's kind of where we're going from, what we're looking at, and so far, I would say just overall, Noah, because I've watched this film like 3 times now.
Mm-hmm.
What was your initial reaction?
My initial reaction was I didn't realize how much of the movie would be spent, because I knew about the synopsis kind of from the outside, and I knew kind of the framing of the whole movie. But I didn't realize how much of it would be spent of him kind of slowly discovering meaning and what that is. A lot of the movie is spent with him trying to pursue like pleasure. Like he's trying to like have a good time. Like he's trying to have fun for the first time. And he's reflecting on this, and so he's kind of going around, going to bars and dancing. He's doing pachinko machines with people, and kind of doing all of this, and that section I think was really fascinating to kind of explore, and I just wasn't aware of it that was going to be a part of the movie. So, that's what hit me initially.
Yeah, that's why I try not to describe the movie to people. I tell them it's a 2-part film, but really, when you look at it, it's 3 distinct actions in this film, because you have 3 different roles being played with our main character. It's either from the perspective of the writer, then you have the perspective with the girl, and then the after. So,
yeah, it was a very fascinating kind of, again, those perspectives, the different ways of looking at the world, and kind of exploring life through the eyes of these 3 different people, right? You have the man who's in his job, and it's a dead end, and he just does it because that's what he needs to do. That's his place in life.
Yep.
Then you have the writer who is just interested in kind of living life to the fullest, and doesn't really care about anybody else. He just kind of does whatever he wants, and kind of wants to drown out everything. And then the girl is kind of interestingly in the middle. Like she's like a well-adjusted person. She has like hopes and dreams and aspirations. Like she is the youthful kind of like idealist. And then
and I would say she's the one who sparks the whole initial move we see with Watanabe's character and what it becomes.
Yeah, it definitely triggers this transformation, and then his final transformation into who he becomes in the very end of the film.
Yeah. So, shall we get into it?
Sure. One thing that I saw, so the version I saw was on HBO Max, and so they had like a little intro where somebody gave like a kind of an introduction little statement that they read out, and they pointed out a few things that I thought were interesting enough to bring up. One of them being Ikiru, meaning is the meaning of the word is to live.
Yep.
A verb. Also, that this is inspired by the death of Ivan Ilyich by Tolstoy, and the quote that they linked to it, the person who wrote that piece said, Kurosawa was famous for the quote, "Why can't people be happy together?"
Yeah. Yeah, I do find Kurosawa is deeply affected by Russian like
Mm.
media, literature, and everything like that. Because look at his filmography. He directed and wrote a film, The Idiot, which is written by one of
Dostoevsky.
the most famous
Yeah.
Russian literary people, Dostoevsky. And he's deeply affected by all these Russian literature. Like, even look at another famous film, Durske Urzula. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Mm.
I always butcher it. But it's the man based in like Russian woods and just a man who lives off of nature and is harmony with nature. And it's all based in, like, it's a true story
Mm.
he's taking it from. But it's from Russia, a man in Russia and Russian explorers, such, like that.
Yeah. It's fascinating to see him take these, and it's controversial to call Russian literature Western, but Western in comparison to Japan, to take on
Yeah.
like he adapts Shakespeare, he adapts these Russian stories or these Russian experiences, oftentimes to a Japanese context, which I find to be fascinating.
And I think that's why, as a director, for me, being Western, I can more easily watch a Kurosawa film comparatively to a lot of other, like, because watched a couple Chinese films during that era, a lot of other Japanese films, and it's a lot harder for us
Hmm.
to gather culturally what's going on without doing like a intense deep dive.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I think what's fascinating with this one is, I don't know, the other connection I made to this film really early on is that he's in this dead end government job that,
yep.
they, as
Which
people
is
show
something
up.
I want to bring up.
Okay, we can explore that a little bit
Yeah.
more too. But the connection to Kafka is my mind, like, really present, right? The Kafka-esque. The word Kafka-esque is to refer to this like convoluted system, usually of a government, so that nothing actually
Mm-hmm.
gets done. That it's just impossible to kind of explore and to deal with.
Yeah.
And it seems like indirectly or directly, Kafka's influence is like pretty heavy in at least the early sections of this, and
Yeah.
existentialism in general too.
Yeah. And add on to that, the important aspect to understand this film is this was shot during the time of the Allied occupation of Japan.
Hmm.
So between that 1945 and 1952. And so you have a lot of this bureaucracy going on within Japan at the time, which was quite humorous. And when I was listening to the commentary, pointed out a really funny aspect of what makes. There's three aspects to making a good, like, great principles of Japanese bureaucracy. One being don't be late, don't take time off, and do no work.
Hmm.
Those are the three principles during this time.
Hmm.
And you see it prominently. And the only reason you kind of can know it's like during this time is the guy pointing out the sign you see at the beginning of the film.
Hmm.
Like, that's pointing to this Allied occupation type signage during this time. I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, and all the problems they're experiencing are very much like, you know, human waste kind of going into public waters. Like, it's very much
Mm-hmm.
like indirectly talking about the the consequences of probably bombings of all these kind of experiences and recovering from that.
Yeah.
And people kind of still suffering the pains of this destruction, yet no repairs are actually being done. Like there is no reconstruction going on. They're kind of sitting in the brokenness.
Yeah. And Kurosawa wouldn't have been able to make this film in Japan if he didn't release it at the time he did. Because as soon as Allied Occupation released, that's kind of when he released this film. Otherwise, it would have been really difficult, if not impossible, to show it in Japan at the time. Yeah. Very similar to what you see in a lot of like Chinese films during certain areas of like the communist occupation of China. Couldn't have certain media during the time, so certain films couldn't be published. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the powers that be are not interested in too much critique of their system.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's very critiquing the Japanese bureaucracy during that time. Yeah. And it's kind of humorous to see, especially through the lens of the girl we see. Mm-hmm. She says, everyone's boring. It's dead here.
Yeah. Well, the narration of the film, it starts out saying, like, this is our main character. And we could talk about the rest of his life, but it's not noteworthy enough to even talk about. For all intents and purposes, he's been dead for the last, I don't know if it says 20 years or if it says just for most of his life.
It's like 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
As we can tell from the actual, like, certificate on his wall, 30 years of...
Oh, that's right.
...work he's had with the place. Mm-hmm. And the girl makes a comment on it, too, of, wow, you've been here for 30 years without missing a day, and now you've missed a day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to point out, and her nickname for him was the Mummy.
Yes, yeah. The one that comes to my mind is there's the joke she tells, or she's reading and she laughs, and the whole room is dead otherwise, right? They're all just kind of sitting there signing papers, doing nothing, and she laughs, mm-hmm. and it kind of stirs everything, and they're like, "What's going on? Like, why are you like making noise?" And she tells this joke, and I'm gonna butcher it, but it was something along the lines of, I never want to take a day off work because I'm afraid that if I take a day off work, people will realize that I don't actually do any, like they can fully function without me, and mm-hmm. it's both a critique of like the individual, but then also of this whole system, that this whole system doesn't do anything, and if only people would realize that if this system wasn't here, it would be the exact same experience as if it was here, and they wouldn't lean into it or put up with it.
It's definitely one of the big themes of this film is the failing, because you have, even at the beginning of the film, this comedy scene, which is also kind of sad, of like the mothers trying to push the initiative for the park. And they're going stage by stage, but each time they're like pushed away by each office. Like they go to the parks office, then they're shoved over to like communications office, then they're shoved over to them. And you're looking through the lens of the women, mm-hmm. The way he shoots it. And it's just like, I think he goes through like 12 or 16 different like transitions just to drive home the point. Nothing happens.
Yeah. Each one they say, oh, there's sewage involved? You should go to sewage. And then sewage says, oh, but you want to build a park? You're going to have to get approval from the parks department. And they just keep passing off the buck, and no one ever mm-hmm. actually makes any progress in pushing this forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think... Is there anything else you wanted to cover before we get to kind of closer to the diagnosis part of the film?
Yeah. No. The only other key aspect I would say is the songs that we gotta cover. The way he is that pop song. I think it's 3 times you see it. First time you see it, it's on the radio. Second time, Watanabe singing it.
Oh, I didn't hear
Third
it on the
time.
radio originally.
I don't know if it was the same song on the radio, but there's a pop song played on the radio when, like, at the very start of the film.
Mm.
And it could be a different one. I would have to verify. But then you have it sung in the bar, and then you have it sung on the swing at the end.
Yes.
But main key difference is the bar and the swing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see it completely different Watanabe in each stage.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. It's the same words and the same song, but it means something different, which is fascinating too. Yeah. As we kind of get further into the film, we get to the diagnosis section, where he's going in he's been experiencing some difficulties with trying to remember what his stomach. His digestive system's having trouble, and he gets a test done, and I think what's fascinating about the way the film works is that no one ever tells him that he has cancer directly, but it's all he figures it out. So feel free to cut in, Ryan, for anything that you want to add or change.
And I would say it's actually an interesting cultural thing that was happening during this time, as this was not unnormal for Japanese doctors to present them, like, death patients with this kind of thing. And patients would want this too during this time, because they didn't want to hear the death diagnosis, because it would just mean that your life's over, it's done, all right, move on. And they'd rather hear, oh, you just have such and such anyways.
Yeah.
So it's a common practice during the time. But for us as a Western audience, we would have wanted to know. But for, like, a Japanese and Eastern practice, they didn't.
What's interesting to me is that I made a lot of connections to the way that we treat both the dying and the elderly. That like in our society, especially in the context of like a city, we kind of sequester elderly people or dying people into like one space, right? They go into a home, they go into like a hospice care center, and you just don't see them. Like, we don't want to think about death. And there was a lot of those connections that I was making to the way that we treat death and dying in our culture. Mm-hmm. That it's almost untouchable. Like, you hear constantly stories about, somebody gets diagnosed with cancer, and then as soon as they get the diagnosis of cancer, like, everybody cuts ties with them in their life. Like, they might have a few close friends that keep in contact and try to keep up connection, but there'll be a lot of people who will just not talk to them anymore. Even family members who will do that. And so that was the connection I was making, that there is this, I don't know if it's like a, more recent, like last couple centuries, but this kind of aversion to death, or even thinking about death, that this film pretty much confronts head on the entire time.
No, it definitely tackles it right there, like directly right here. Mm-hmm. And you're presented to it pretty clearly. Like, you start the film knowing Watanabe's character has cancer. Yes. And the narrator's telling you, this is a man who's going to die. And in that very way, Kurosawa's, like, he's defining this character by his disease very initially into the film. And then when you have in the doctor's office this random patient describing how they will present to you if you have stomach cancer, able to go over, oh, okay, you have this and you have this, so it's not this, so you're fine. But due to the fact Watanabe heard this, he's arguing against this doctor. Mm-hmm. It's like, I have this, don't I? Tell me. And the doctor's like, no, you have this. And at the very end, of that scene, doctor's even like, well, it's such a sad thing. He has stomach cancer. Confirming to the audience,
Yeah.
this is,
There's no ambiguity that this
there's
could
no
be. Yeah.
ambiguity. And yet, our, even there's no ambiguity within our own main character, but he's not directly told.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do I do now?
Because I think if they didn't make it unambiguous, right? If it was left kind of, he assumed that he has cancer. I think there's a way you could watch the movie and you're like, oh, he doesn't have cancer, and so it's gonna be a happy ending, because he's gonna find out that he doesn't actually have cancer, and it was just him kind of freaking out, but he changed through this or something like that. But the film's very clear, like, no, this is not the type of story that we're telling. Like, we are telling a story of a man who's dying, and he's going to die, and there's no way around it.
Yeah, he is going to die. There's no way to end on this note other than this character dying.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to take you on this journey. And it sets to you this already sense of uncomfortability, because you know you're just going to watch a character die.
Yeah.
It's like one of those films you're like, I'm watching a disaster happen, and I have to sit and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But how will this disaster go? I don't know. And so it is like, it goes back to your point. It's our uncomfortability with the idea of death and being presented with the idea of death. And it's like you have in this culture doctors who would refuse to tell patients that they have a death sentence, and patients who would agree with this. And I remember the narrator telling, like, the commentary telling about how they felt like if you knew your death sentence, your life would deteriorate. You would have a quicker death because of it.
Mm-hmm.
For not knowing. But our narrator is like, you should know, and you will know. So let's deal with it.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of other themes of death in there too.
Oh yeah, all the way through. The next part that I have written down, and we can keep on the diagnosis section, but the next part is him coming home immediately after getting his diagnosis, and he's sitting in the dark in his home is a multifamily home to a certain extent, right? He owns the home, but his son and his wife own a separate room, and he's sitting in his son and his wife's room. And so they come home and they're talking to each other, and they want to buy their own house. And so they're talking about this, and they're trying to find out how they could get money from the father, our main character, to accomplish this. And they're talking about taking his retirement money and trying to do this. And the whole time they're talking about him almost as if he's dead already.
Yeah.
It's very similar in my mind to the prodigal son kind of narrative, where the prodigal son goes to his father and asks for his inheritance early.
Yep.
And in that you're basically saying you're dead to me, essentially. Like,
yep.
I want to cash out now as if you're dead. And the son is a very interesting character, also at Kurosawa's, because like I took a note when I was hearing it, because Kurosawa is very critical of the post-war generation, who are very capital-centric and capitalistic. Mm-hmm.
And this is what you're seeing from the son, is this drive for capital. I need this. He's treating the father as just a means to an end.
Yeah.
Comparatively to, oh, this is my father. And you'll see later in the film, the father kind of has done the same thing to the son. And it's quite an interesting balance you see between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I don't even know where the quote comes from, but there's this I think it might be Prodigal Son as well, but oh man, but I don't know why it's coming to my mind. But it's like, don't you know all I have is yours? Like there's a certain level of like, the son is wanting all this now, but he's the only son. He's going to inherit everything anyway. So there is this certain aspect of like, trying to kind of push your father's death closer so you can get what you want out of it. And little does he know his father is actually dying, and is kind of on the verge of that.
Yep. It's very true. So, what else? I do have to say the diagnosis scene was interesting in the sense of how it was framed. Because you always have three people in the scene, one in the background, and then we're pushing the main character farther and farther away. He's moving himself away from the camera more he understands his diagnosis from this guy. And so that was interesting how Kurosawa was framing that. Like, pushing our character away because he's trying to run from his own death and his own diagnosis.
Yes, yeah. One section I also have here is that in this section of the movie, there's a lot of like almost visual tricks and stuff with mirrors, and it's used as like a pretty frequent motif of there's a mirror and you think you're seeing the real thing, but then it pulls away and you realize that you're looking at a mirror that's like sitting above somebody who's sitting at a table, right? And then you see the person at the table. And in some ways that's very like, again, existentialist. Like there's this like human experience, like what is the lived experience of somebody who is approaching death. I think that there's something I want to explore more there, but I don't know if I have the the mental ability to fully process all that's going on with that image.
Yeah. Is there anything we want to do with the diagnosis?
I don't know if I have any more notes on the diagnosis.
Yeah.
I think the next section that we get to is his initial meeting of the writer.
Yeah. I think that's a very critical scene you see in the film. Of the initial meeting with the writer, because he's one of the few people Watanabe actually tells his diagnosis to. It was him and the girl. There's only 2 times in the film he pronounces, "I have stomach cancer and I'm going to die." And the first one is the writer.
Yes.
Which is interesting when you look at why Kurosawa chose this character to be the one. Because if you look at anyone in any literature, the writer is the poet, the guy who tells the tales, who is living the free life. And now you're telling this man, "Oh, I'm going to die." And he's like, "Oh, this is very interesting. And let's paint it in a very poetic way." And it takes a different... It's a very interesting first character to tell this to.
Well, and it's fascinating too because of, and I'm sure you probably took notes on this too, but all there's a lot of religious language in this section of the film. So the poet refers to himself as, I think he refers to himself as Mrs. I forget how to pronounce it.
Oh yes,
Mephistopheles.
Yeah, I pulled that up on a tab somewhere. I'm like, what does it mean to Mephistopheles?
But it's like he's
to be like character. A demon.
Yeah, like
he's a devil character. He's in conjunction with the devil.
Yeah,
he's a trickster. He's that, and so he's comparing himself to this. So it's like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, he's I believe that's a reference to Faust as well. I might be wrong if that's Faust, but
it would make sense because I was looking up the character and he appears a lot in a lot of different literature.
Yeah,
and so he's used a lot. And I wouldn't put it past his appears in Faust.
Yeah, but like there's this idea of like the deal with the devil, right? And
Yeah,
but the place that you find, like, he meets the devil, which I think is fascinating too, is in a bar. But then also our main character is trying to drink himself to death, but he's never drunk. He's never bought himself a drink before. I think is the way he states it, and so it's he's trying to, his reaction to getting this diagnosis is basically to end it faster.
Yep. And I found it interesting what the writer says, and it is rebellious what Watanabe is doing. It's being rebellious by drinking himself to death.
I forget the context of that. Is that the way he says that? Is that
It's right after
admiration of what he's doing, or is that a
yeah, it's in admiration because it was right after our character tells him that he's never bought a drink before, he's never done this, and he's like, "You are being rebellious," and it's in a good context.
Interesting.
It's like praising him in a way. And then he proceeds to say after that that we have to be greedy for life.
Yeah.
So.
Hmm.
And then, like, I think the biggest one, you were a slave, now you've become the master.
Yes. Yeah. And so as he goes, I'm trying to kind of fit this into where they go from there, because then the next thing is basically just it feels like there's all this language about, like, okay, you're in control now, you're the master, you were the slave before, you're in control, you're doing all this, and then the next thing that they're doing is they're going into these like huge clubs and whatever, and these loud pachinko parlors, and it's drowning everything out. Like, that's the whole kind of thing, is like, forget that you're dying, like, just like live and forget, and and it's
like ignore the world and do everything that's so loud and so ruckus and do that. I also, like, before we move into the pachinko, there's one scene that caught me, and it's the black dog.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was kind of looking up the symbolism for black dogs, and a lot of times black dogs are like an omen of death, and or the gateway to the underworld, to per se. And the poet kicks the dog.
Yeah.
In a way, symbolizing, let's kick death in the face in a lot of ways to me.
Yeah.
Like, it was interesting. Because they made it very clear it's a black dog, and then the writer kicks it.
Yeah, it's interesting because our main character feeds the dog. Like, he actively takes, pity on the dog and feeds it, but then the writer is the one who kicks it. And so there's this aspect of, I don't know, maybe there's like a good instinct in Watanabe to, like, find a way to relate to death well. And the writer is just like, let's get it out of here. Like I don't want to even process this. Like, I'm going to give you, like, my last gift to you for your life is to give you life for the first time. And this is how I'm going to do it, is I'm going to drown out any idea of death.
Yep. And it's always the loudest things, because pachinko, loud. It's like going to a casino and you're like, oh, all these big, bright, colorful things. Distracting. It's very distracting things. You go to the club, distracting. And it's like...
alleyways full of, like, prostitutes, right? Like, that was another kind of section in the montage of all these places.
There's prostitutes, yep. It's a couple of different places. And then, like, at one point, our character's hat's stolen, and they're like, the post like, "We'll buy you a new one. It's time for a new hat."
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to get that hat back from those women.
Yeah.
So we already see a change happening with Watanabe by the shift of the hat too.
Mm-hmm. What shift are you seeing in him when he gets the hat?
I think is becoming the rebellious character we see a little bit, and he's becoming this spontaneous person. Like, oh, I'm no longer going to work. I'm not doing my routine. I'm now with this crazy writer and doing this, all these clubs and that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now this new Watanabe. I'm this new guy.
Yeah.
And now I go from a black hat to a white hat. And I can't remember the exact context of like symbolism for hats, but like usually a black hat represents kind of like either you're like a villain or something like that, and the white hat's the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but you can also take it in a different way with this.
Yeah.
So,
one other thing that came to my mind, because I wrote down this bit, was that the writer, at some point they're at a bar or something, and he's talking. I believe he's talking to someone else about Watanabe, and he says, "Ecce homo, this man is Christ." And he goes on to this little rant, and he says like, his cross that he bears is cancer. And it's just fascinating to see that and like try to process that he sees this this like ultimate burden that this man has been given, and I don't know, and the writer's kind of subversion of that is almost like he's trying to distract him from it. Like it's in that moment he realizes that, you know, the right way to relate to all this is to actually kind of surrender to it, and not in a way that's like defeatist, but in victory, like surrender to, you know, your fate is going to be death. But everything the writer does to try to help Watanabe is to try to forget the fact that he's dying.
yep.
And so I'm trying to square that circle a little bit, trying to understand like what is he trying to get at there when he's doing that. And maybe it's his kind of flawed understanding that he has all this eloquent language, but he doesn't really know anything. Like he has never seen anybody suffer before.
Yeah. Well, you clearly see at the beginning of their discussion of the writer's like, "Oh, I've never met a man who's about to die."
Yeah.
And so he's trying to help him the only way he knows to go through pain. And it's actually kind of going through the thinking of it. Our main character is actually helping the writer in this point.
Yeah.
As you see at the end of the sequence, right before I believe they go to the club and go dancing, the very last like concert or whatever, Watanabe has to go out and puke.
Mm-hmm.
He goes puke, and the writer's like, "Oh, he has cancer and whatever," and he goes out of the car to go check on him, and it's at that point the writer sees death in his face.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh,
This is real."
That's real."
Yeah.
And there's a sense of terror in the writer at that point.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, this is a reality and not a joke. And so you see a change in the writer in his ideas.
Yeah. I think the last kind of important part that I think we can touch on here is the song.
Yes.
Because this is kind of the point where, you know, there's all this crazy music being played, and everybody's dancing, and it's busy, and people are like making out in the stairwell. Our main characters are drunk. They're kind of wandering through this club. Part part of me remembers pretty distinctly the man who's playing the piano. There's a woman who's like has a beer in her hand, and she's like feeding it to him as he's playing the piano. Like it's just like it's
chaos.
Yeah, it's chaos. It's hedonism. It's like the, you know, the post-war generation, the like focus on just pleasure, capitalism, you know, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, they're kind of swept into this room. There's a woman who's kind of like hanging off of Watanabe, and Watanabe requests this song to be played. And the man says, oh, that old love song. So he starts playing it, and all these people come in, and they begin to slow dance. Is there any other piece that you wanted to kind of touch on before, like, I think the climax of the scene for that?
Yeah. It's... You will see at the beginning, like, the very start, the woman's trying to steal the man Watanabe's hat again, and he's chasing after her to get the hat back. There's like a theme of attachment to these hats for him. He's like, I don't want to lose this hat. I already lost the other one, so give it back. Kind of a funny little scene, but just kind of shows his cling to the hat.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, just like you brought up earlier, the mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
You were initially presented the piano guy from like a mirrored perspective, and it's kind of disorienting when you look at that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very disorienting scene initially to watch. Like, oh, there's a lot of these guys' hats stolen again. Oh, now we're on piano guy. Oh, they're drinking. Oh, there's the poet. Very disorienting. Very intentional.
Everybody's moving in the room. They're dancing. There's so much going on.
And then we're pulled into this slow, like, very drawn out scene.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very in contrast to what's going on around him.
Yeah. And then as the song is playing, we don't even see him. We see the piano being played, I believe. And then you hear the voice come out and sing the song. And, you know, the song is somewhat upbeat, I would say. Like, generally. Like, it's a slow song, but it's still upbeat. But the voice is singing it, and it's a low voice. It's very somber. And then it puts the lyrics into the new perspective that the song is about death. The song is basically like women, find love while you still can, because death is coming. And
yep,
it kind of shatters the room. Like the room then becomes everybody, like, I don't know, it's like nobody wanted death here. Like, this is where we come to avoid thinking about anything. And so, like, why is this man here? Like, why is this old man here? And why is he singing about death?
Yeah, no, it was fascinating to watch the scene, because you watch him slowly, like, all the dancers slowly just stop dancing.
Yeah.
Like, they just become just infatuated by him more so than the dance itself. And it's just funny when you look at, like, when he gets zoomed in on just the pain in his face.
Yeah.
The sheer, like, you see fear, and like I said, there's sadness, and there's just, like, it just makes you want to stare at this guy. It's like, why is he singing it in such a pained way? And
maybe I'm reading into it, but the sense I get is that they're infatuated by this kind of scene, but they're also, like, there's like a disgust. Like, everybody wants to kind of step away. Like, they're like, what is going on? There's the woman who's kind of sitting in his lap. I think she's sitting in his lap, and then as he sings, she gets up and she begins to back away, like, almost like freaked out. Like, she is. It's almost like death is treated as like an infection. Like, there's this, like, I don't I don't want to touch it. It's a disgust reaction, like the way that everybody kind of responds.
Yeah, it's very much so. They look at it as this negative, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what are you talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of fascinating to watch that happen. You're like, everyone's recoiled by this. Mm-hmm. And even Watanabe kind of feels recoiled in his own self singing the song.
Yeah.
Like, there's like a lot of disgust everywhere in the room.
Well, and it's like it's being pulled out of him too, right? Like that there's this like, it's almost like I don't even know how to say it, like primordial. Like it's so like, it's from his soul almost, it feels like. And he's just weeping as he's singing this song that, I don't know. Anyway, continue. Sorry, I interrupted that.
Yeah, no, yeah. I just like the end when the poet's like, "That's the spirit," and they just leave.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Is there any part we want to? Is there anything else that comes to mind for this section of the? Actually, I think I have one more note.
Yeah.
I said the theme of hiding death away, and I think this is a quote from the writer, but I might be wrong. But I don't know myself. That's why I follow you around. Or maybe that's, I don't remember who says that. It might be Watanabe talking to the writer. That sounds more like what that was.
That sounds right. That sounds like very initial their conversation. I don't know how to live, so teach me how to live.
Yeah. And it's this, he's lived his whole life without ever trying to understand himself, or know who he really is. And so he's kind of pulled by whatever forces are around him, like whether that be the writer, whether that be the draw of death, and he wants to just speed it up and be over with it. He doesn't want to have to deal with it. And that brings us to the next section too, where he follows just another person. Like he finds someone else to kind of latch onto and try to find what life is.
Yeah, it's that younger girl who finds that youth presented before him. And that's the big key aspect of. He finds this young girl and he attaches to her because of her youth. And that she actually has like a spirit to her. Comparatively to him, where he's an old man, he's wasted his whole life, and he's an old bureaucrat.
Well, and she also is unafraid to note the death that has entered this system of government, of bureaucracy, that she wants out of it. And so he's just now realizing how broken all this stuff is. But she's young and notices it already. And so there is this aspect of like, you know something that I don't. Like, I need to find out more. Like, you know what life is more than I do. So show me what that is. Yep.
It's very funny. It's because he tries to show her. Because, like, the initial scene is kind of funny because you get them, because she's trying to get him to sign off on her paperwork to release him. And we have a little bit of old Watanabe coming out of, this is the wrong format.
Yeah.
She's like, come on, guy.
He's like, then he realizes it just doesn't matter. None of this matters. And he's just like, stamps it. And it's like, okay, we'll just keep going.
It's like, let's keep going. It's just the funny part about that scene. And then the son and his wife start believing that he's having an affair with this girl. That's where that starts.
Yeah, and then that whole like subsequent part where I don't know, it's interesting because he has all this. His thought of what life is now is, is the party life, the buying stuff, the extravagance, and so his first reaction is just to pull her into that. So he takes her to amusement parks, and he takes her to pachinko parlors, and all this, and he's just trying to do whatever. But in the process, he's spending all this money, and his son is like freaking out because like my father now has this young woman that is trying to take everything away from him, which that's not really what she's doing, but
No.
that's another kind of piece to this puzzle.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to watch that happen. Because even at one point, uh, after like the first sequence with the girl, where he's like, I'll buy you the leggings because you have holes in them, and I'll be nice, and then let's hang out together. And then you get him coming up to the stairs and spending time with the family. He's going to reveal that he has stomach cancer to them.
Yeah.
And then the son accuses him of having an affair, wasting all the money, and only cares about that the father is burning off his money.
You're spending my inheritance.
Spending my inheritance, doesn't want to listen to the father. And it comes to importance at the end
Mm-hmm.
with the son of this scene, because there's certain things that are revealed to the son, and he's like, oh, that's not what happened. So the son's accusing the father of doing all these wrongs, and he's wronging him, even though he was going to tell his son he's gonna die.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to kind of get past the real. I mean, like, this is something that I'm reflecting on now, which is the son is accusing him of being irresponsible with his money, but it's the son, right? The son doesn't have the position of the father. Like, the father, that's his money.
Yep.
There's a certain aspect of, like, you know, he needs to care for the family, but he is caring for the family. He's taking care of them for the most part. There's like a reasonable level of concern, right? Dad, you haven't been showing up to work. Like, what's going on? You're chasing after this woman. You're spending a lot of money. You could ask, why is this going on? Like, what is going on? Are you okay? But his first reaction is, you're spending all my inheritance. You're spending all the money that I had plans for. Again, treating his father like he's already dead. Like, that there's this... he just wants to get whatever he can out of his father.
Yeah. And I think it was before this scene happened, or was it after, where we go through like the journey of his relation with his son.
Oh, I think it might be after, but yeah.
But regardless, you go through his relation with the son, and he tried, kinda, not really. As you get the baseball game, the son tries to go steal a base after he already said, look at my son, he did so good, and then gets out because he tried to steal a base. Everyone makes fun of him, and then he's silent.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't say anything. He's embarrassed by his son. And then, like, I think the other big scene is, like, his son is going in for, like, a surgery. And he's like, sorry, I gotta go to work. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
But Dad, I'm scared. You'll be fine. See you later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he sees all these kind of failures of himself, and it's like he doesn't know how to, like, it's too late to change anything. It's too late to show his son something different. Which I think in the end we kind of get the impression that maybe it wasn't too late. Like, maybe he could have moved forward with that. But, you know, we'll never know.
No. It's just an interesting relation between him and his son.
Yeah.
You see throughout this film.
Hmm.
Anything else? Okay. I think that was the initial movement with her. But, like, the second half with her is where she starts calling him out. Because we get the scene with the mummy she's giving the nicknames of all the other coworkers. He's the slug. He's this. Kind of making fun of the bureaucracy system through all of her nicknames. And then he also points out, hey, you remember that joke you said the other day? That's is so true. I've been dead for years.
Mm.
And it's like, kind of funny how that one little scene we see of the joke comes right back to us. It's like, actually, you're right about that joke. It's funny, but I'm actually him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. He recognizes his own failures right now. And he's recognizing these things. If you have anything else to say on that.
Well, I think what he struggles with is that now he's coming to reckon with all the mistakes he's made, how he's responsible for the brokenness of his family, his inability to change anything at work or anything, and how he's been complicit in this kind of broken system. And I mean, it's tearing him apart, but he doesn't know the way out. He doesn't know how to make things right. And so I think that's what he's kind of desperate for, is that he feels like it's all meaningless. And he's desperately clinging on to this young woman because, like, maybe she can lead him to what can fix this, or what can actually make a difference.
Yeah. And now he's looking to her youth in this aspect. And I think this is where we kind of see it start to happen. And after, I would say, the sun scene, then he falls even more into wanting to be around her. Because he's like, I just need to know. What does it mean to be young? And you get to a climax with her. This is like the important scene. It's like, she's frustrated with him. Like, why do you keep coming to me? Why are you spending all this on me? I don't get it. And he's like, I am infatuated by your youth. I'm infatuated by your recognition that the bureaucracy is dead and all these other things. And it's like, how do you live? It's like, it gets to that point, like, how do you live?
Yeah. And then her response, after being somewhat confused and unable to answer, is that she pulls out a toy rabbit and hands it to him and says, at my new job I make these rabbits, and in doing this I feel like I can be a friend to every child in Japan. That in her work she finds a way to make people's lives better. I maybe would be a way to put it, but to at least have an impact in people's lives.
Yeah.
For good.
Yeah. And that, I think the other aspect she's pointing was like, I've made this.
Yes.
It's something I have done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
there's agency.
There's agency. It's like proof that I've done something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is something I can say I put my hands on.
Yeah. And
I was not inactive, but active. Which was her big problem with the bureaucracy. It was so inactive, so dead. Like, there's a desire to make something, but everyone doesn't. Like, we go back to the 3 principles. Don't be late. Show up to work, and then don't do any work.
Yeah. And I think it's important too that her new job wasn't, working on public health, like doing like some big kind of charity or something like that. It was something extremely simple, lowest level. She's a factory worker who makes toys. Like
Yep.
this is where she has found meaning, is in this extremely simple, but like modern, like job, uh, and kind of points out the, maybe hypocrisy might be a strong word, but the hypocrisy of this like governmental system that has so much meaning accessible to it, right? It's a place where they can actually make a difference and help people, and in the end, it actually does nothing. It actually actively makes things feel more meaningless. Like it is a like entropic force on the world.
Yeah. And it's like, this is where we start seeing the change in Watanabe for the good, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But it was definitely an interesting scene. It's like, I just like to make something. And it kind of clicked for him. It's like, oh, these clinky buttons, these buying things, may not bring me purpose. And then right after that, you see him show back up to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he has this kind of conversion moment, and then when he shows up to work, we only get a few scenes with him at work.
Yep.
It's pretty brief, but everybody recognizes a difference in him.
It was always the initial, when they first saw him again, like, especially with the girl, it's like, oh, I couldn't recognize you with the new hat.
Yeah.
And they get in the office. What's this hat? What's this Watanabe? What's going on? So.
Yeah. So at this point in the movie, because of the way that it's structured, we kind of do the time skip now, right? Unless there's something else that we wanted to hit before the time skip.
Not anything I could think of. It's just, those are like the key aspects we see with our main characters we see interact with. And they're the only two characters Watanabe ever told, I have this.
Yeah. So we time skip into a wake scene where all these kind of, it's his family, and then all these kind of not business, but like governmental officials and like coworkers are all gathered.
Yep. You see the chief of public works or whatever is there, and
the mayor's
everyone's
there.
putting face. The mayor's there. Like, everyone who has a face is there. So. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because you initially get just like the knock on door and the press comes in and they're asking Mayor, we heard rumors that you took all the credit for this and it was actually this guy who did all the work. What do you say to that? And he's like, we're a team here.
Yeah.
You get the most politician answers from him. Like, remember, we all did this, but I did this.
Yeah.
So re-elect me. Kind of funny, but paints true the very, again, highly criticalness of the democratic system we have going on now, and like the capitalization of it. It's like, no, we all did it, but I did it more.
Yeah.
Despite when we learn he actually was not in favor of this at all, and they wanted to put a black red light district in that town.
But yeah, that, what was the thing that they basically said that if he wasn't up for re-election, they wouldn't have made the park. So that's kind of the whole argument used to say that Watanabe had no influence on the actual creation of this park. That's kind of the big moment, is that over the time skip he takes on the task of putting this park together, and it actually ends up happening. And the wake kind of is this reflection moment, and everybody says like Watanabe, you know, he did some good, but you know, in the end, it was really everybody else who did the work, and the mayor, because it so worked out that he needed more votes, they ended up making the park,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the story that they all tell themselves at the beginning.
As we slowly learn, is not the full case.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, you go through the whole journey of how even this park was made.
Yeah.
Because then you have the ladies who were the women of the park come in to burn incense. They're weeping. Like, already you see this scene as like emotionless, and then the emotion gets brought in with the women.
Yeah.
The women are the ones who are the ones weeping for his death, because they saw how much work he put into making this happen when everyone else just shoved him off into a corner.
The connection I made too with the women approaching is, it reminded me a lot of some of like the gospel scenes of you know, the woman who anoints Christ, or the women who approach the grave of Christ to mourn. Like, all the men are sitting back, they're mourning in their own way, doing their own thing, but the women are the ones who approach and are the ones to show the real grief and who honor
Yep.
this life.
Yeah, it was very prominent when we saw that. And it's like, oh, these women really, there's something that he did. Because at this point, we have no context what happened. And already we're like, I don't think this politician guy, this mayor, actually did much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are lying, they are being politicians right now. And the truth comes out through these women. Like, who did the work? Oh, we all did the work. Then the women come in. Actually, we recognize who did the work.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an interesting part.
One bit, because we do another reflection of, like, the next section of the movie mostly is a series of flashbacks kind of going on. What actually happened with Watanabe? How did he do this? And one thing that stuck out to me, and just more of these kind of interesting gospel connections that I made throughout the movie, was the women who, even after being rejected so many times, even after, you know, the weeks that Watanabe was gone, they are still coming back and asking for this park. And they are, you know, they feel rejected in a lot of ways, and this is almost this last moment of like, they're about to finally give up. But the connection I made was to the woman and the unjust judge. This parable that Jesus tells of this woman who is crying out for justice over and over and over again, and eventually she annoys the judge so much that he finally just gives it to her. That these women are like this, where they're just like, this is something we need, right? Like, this is harming your community, and they eventually find someone who kind of connects with their heart, and that's Watanabe, to kind of take up their challenge.
Mm-hmm. And it's very showing with these village women, as throughout the whole time you see in the flashbacks, Watanabe is falling over. They're immediately to him. Like, the government guys with him are like slow to the job, but the women are just right to him.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you're the only one who's helping right now, so we're gonna give you everything right now.
Yeah.
And they're just keeping him up. And it's definitely a really great moments you see with that film, of like, these are the people who recognize what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, from the start. And I think moving on to that is like, the work itself is kind of described as what was keeping him alive. Like, getting this park done was what kept him alive this whole time.
Yeah.
Because you see him just slowly deteriorating over this time. In each flashback, he's getting worse and worse, but it's the work that's keeping him going.
Yes, yeah. The yeah, throughout the whole, like you were saying, right, that there's this he's pushing through all the pain and everything that comes with this. Like, this is his, what he's living for now, is making this park. I think one flashback that kind of, really stands out to me is when he's confronting the men who are trying to turn this area into a red light district.
Yes.
That they challenge him and they threaten him, but he doesn't stand down. He kind of stares them down, and they're kind of freaked out, and because they don't know what to do, right? Because for all intents and purposes, this is a man who has nothing to lose, right? He's dying, right? You can threaten his life, but it's already gone. So what are they going to do about it?
Yeah, he's threatened by these. I would say they're the Yakuza probably in this. Is my assumption.
Yeah.
My assumption is that's who they are.
They're underworld
if you know
kind of
about
types
them,
of some sort.
If you know anything about that kind of organization, they're very violent and they can kill people. But like, Will Not Be's character just stares them in the face and like, I'm already gonna die. What do you want to do?
Yeah. And it's not gonna look good for you if you kill me, right?
Nothing's gonna help you here, so I don't care. I'm just gonna stand here. And that's his approach the whole time, which is always interesting. It's like, he's not like knocking at the door or just like talking to them the whole time. He just sits and stares at everybody.
Well, and he's like that too. I think it's both, right? He sits and stares, but then he also does like knock constantly, right? He is persistent. Like, whenever he sees somebody
he's persistently coming in
signature, he chases after them, and people try to run. Like they're like, I don't want to deal with him, right? I don't want to even like look at him. But he yeah.
He's a contagion to this system.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other bold scene you see is when he's talking to the mayor, the chief, I don't the head director, or whatever they call him.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes to present to this idea, please sign off. And then the guy goes off and has this discussion. Watanabe just stands there.
Yeah.
Please, sir, reconsider. And the mayor looks back and is like, the hell are you doing? What? Please reconsider, sir.
Mm-hmm.
No one's spoken to me like this. Who are you?
Yeah. And I think this is where you get this, I don't know, I feel like the connection, this is where I think Kurosawa was also trying to do this kind of connection with Christ a little bit. This like Christ as the one who is kind of constantly in the crucifixion like narrative. He's the one who is like the weird guy who's approaching Pontius Pilate and talking to him and kind of breaking all the rules, but still at the same time being within the lines of the system. Like, he's still participating in the system and is just willing to give everything to to kind of, again, fall in line, but at the same time change something.
Yeah. And it shows back again to our three principles of bureaucracy. He breaks all three.
Mm-hmm.
He misses work, he's late to work, and he does work. And he's fulfilling the last one in these scenes. He's actually doing work.
Mm-hmm. And it's hilarious to me too. And I think this is part of the humor of it all, that everybody is so freaked out by the fact that he is asking them to do something, to actually do some sort of work. And
like, do work for us. And they're like, why? We don't do work.
what do you mean?
What do you mean? We don't do things.
Mm-hmm.
We just push paper. It's very humorous to watch.
Yeah.
And it gets to a climax because they're trying to figure out, did he know that he was going to die? Did he know? Like, they're having discussion because this is after, like, the layer leaves. And
I was going to say, even before that, they're trying to find out, like, did he actually have an impact, right? Like,
yeah.
Did he actually change anything? And then as soon as the mayor leaves, they begin to, like, actually share. And they realize, like, oh, he did do something, right? Like, I know he did something to me. He did something to you too? Oh, okay. And then they begin to having this. And then they're trying to find out why he's different. And that's where they get to, like, did he know?
They're like, what was going on with him? And again, they bring up the hat. It's important thing about the hat. Like, that hat, it was haunting. It was luminous. Like, where did he get this new hat? Why? And again, it symbolizes this change of this character. Like, goes from the old dead hat to this new white hat. They're all just freaked out by it.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening? And they're just trying to solve, did he have an impact? They kind of decide, yeah, I think he did have an impact. And even the audience agrees, like, yeah, he had an impact on you guys. But then it's like, did he know he was going to die? And I think the biggest scene that telltale for them and him, is we get, I think it's his second in command, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
He's like seeing him coming down the stairs. He's looking like death. And this is like after, like, I think dealing with the red light district is like, and he's like, how do you not hate everybody right now? Like, why do you keep doing this? And it's like, he's like, I can't afford to hate people. I don't have the time for that.
Yeah. And then as soon as he says this, go ahead.
I think that line, when I listen again, I'm like, that's the most impactful line we got in the movie.
Mm.
It's like, I don't have time to hate people. I can't afford it.
Yeah. And then at this point, they all kind of stand up and maybe not stand up, but they're all, like, you know, active, and they're like, he must have knew.
And they look to the sun, they're like, tell us you knew. You had to have known. He had to have told you. And he's just staring on the distance. He's like, oh, that dinner scene. Because, like, he's kind of clicking in his own mind of, like, oh, that dinner scene where I accused him of all these things. I think he was going to tell me then.
Yeah.
That was the important thing he was going to tell me. And it kind of clicks in his mind. He's like, oh, he did know. And he was going to tell me. But I was so preoccupied with this money.
Yeah.
Because even after that, the uncle asks, like, what happened to the woman? And the son just kind of looks at him. There was no woman.
Mm-hmm.
There was none.
And I think the next portion, I think, is, to me, this is like the most powerful kind of moment of the film, of these series of scenes.
Yes.
The ultimate climax is that all these men sitting in this wake, they say he knew. And you know, if I had 6 months left to live, I would have done the same thing. I would have changed something. And then there's this conversation about this where some say, like, no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't do anything different. You'd be the exact same as you are now, or you'd go off and you'd do something else. And other people are like, no, I definitely would do something if I had 6 months left. And then there's this conversation that comes on where everybody's kind of brought to this moment of, like, we're not going to let his death be, put to waste. We are going to live differently from this day forward. we're all going to be living like he did in his last days, and we're going to like actually change the world and do something different. And then we get the next scene.
Yep. Yep. Then it's the next scene. And it's like, they're all back to the same. And then you have the one guy who stands up. He's like, angry. And they look at him like, what? And he's like, never mind.
Yeah. Well, and it's important that it reflects what we saw earlier, right? There's another group that comes, and they are asking for... I think sewage is leaking out again into some area of the city, and the response is like, send them somewhere else. Like, we're not going to deal with this.
Send them to Public Works.
Yeah.
And it's like back to the routine.
Yeah.
And the guy stands up. He's like, we're doing it again, guys. And everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, fine.
Yeah. Have you already forgotten?
It is like, they have already forgotten. They've already ignored everything, and they've gone back.
Yeah.
To what we all knew was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad but funny at the same time. It's like,
it didn't even last a day.
What'd you expect? What'd you expect? And what? Kurosawa's just painting the frame. What'd you expect?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you want a happy ending? Nah.
Yeah.
This is a real ending. This is what really would happen. But it paints also like the most capturing, like to me, most cinematography. I can't speak.
Yeah.
The best scene look-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And shot-wise, and most striking, would be the one right after the police officer comes in, bringing in the hat. The white hat comes in, and he explains, I was actually there, and I saw him on the swing that night, and it was starting to snow, and he was singing that song again.
Mm-hmm.
He was singing, "Life is brief."
Yeah.
And it's like that. You go back to that original scene, you see him just pain, fear, everything culminated. You get him on the swing. He's like, he's happy.
Yeah.
He's accepting.
Maybe not.
I wouldn't say maybe happy, but like
it's contempt, or not contempt. Sorry,
it's contempt.
Content, not contempt. Content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He accepts it. And then there's some sense of like, there can be a little bit of joy in there.
Yeah, I was going to say joy might be a better word for it.
Yeah. And it's completely reversed to where you would see him in the original time he was singing the song. Mm. Like, he didn't want to die. He was afraid of it. And he's like, I know I'm going to die, but I did something. Yeah. And I feel content with it. Feel joy in this, and I can die now.
Mm-hmm.
And he dies. That's where he dies.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's like it's just a very good scene to me. Of like, you have to reflect on the earlier scene to reflect on this, and the way it was captured. You're just like, yeah.
Mm. What comes out to me is going back to that scene where they're all they're very passionate about this change, and it all kind of falls through. That we see this difference between Watanabe and his coworkers, where Watanabe is never actively like burning bright with passion, like early on, right, for this change. Like, it's a very slow process where it begins to like moment by moment begin to accept his death and that he will die, and then begins to build up this kind of passion for, okay, I only have a certain amount of time left, like, let's use it. And so it's a slow burn, but it grows bright. And the coworkers are the opposite. They start out the bright, like, they're like, we're gonna follow in his footsteps, we're gonna kind of follow him at his best, but they kind of fail at the task. Like, they aren't building up to it. starting out
They
at
don't
the top.
they don't recognize what had to be to get to where he was.
Yeah.
They don't realize his own mindset of like, he wanted to ignore death. He wanted to find joy through the youth around him, and he wanted to do this. But he's only until he was told, actually, joy is found like through what you can accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where can you find joy? Where can you find contempt? Like, do something with your hands. Do something with your life.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say he did it for, like, he wanted praise or anything like that. Like, I think that would have ruined the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't. I would say Watanabe couldn't have cared less if he got any, like, acknowledgement for this.
Yeah.
He just was like, I want to do this, and I want to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like,
there's that scene earlier on where the reporters are talking about the death of Watanabe, and they say that Watanabe died in the park, and they say that it must have been an act of protest to not getting the recognition he deserved. And the mayor brings up the fact that, well, the autopsy shows that he had stomach cancer. And so he must have just died instantly, like just had died on the spot without realizing that he had the cancer. And so from the outside, there's some people who look at it and they say, he wanted the recognition, and then that's why he died, is he didn't get the recognition. But I think as we're the audience, we also see that, like, I don't think he wanted the recognition. I don't think he really cared. I think it was just his time. Like, it was his moment of saying, my time is up, and I'm going to kind of spend the last moments here in this thing I actually, like, helped achieve for the first time in my life. Like, I actually made a difference.
Yeah. This is an accomplishment in my life. It's like, when you compare it to his original accomplishments, 30 years of not missing work and being a diligent worker. That was his accomplishment at the start of the film. And you contrast it to this, he's like, I'm actually proud of this accomplishment. Like, this is something I am satisfied. And it's like, you can go into it more of like, he was living for the work. He was staying alive because of it. And once he was able to settle and sit in, he's like, the park is done. I can be done now. I'm satisfied.
Well, if we look at the wake too, right, we have these two sides there as well, right? You have all the officials who are there, and they're there for the achievement of the 25 years of work, right? Or 30 years of work. Like, that's why they're there, is because this man showed that he was never late to work for this extended period of time, and he always showed up. But the women who show up, the people who really matter in our minds, right? The people who, like, are crying at his funeral are there because of the last 6 months, or less, right? The last 4 months of his life.
I think it was 5 months. They said.
Okay, 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the last 5 months of his life, like, they're the one, like, in his last actions that actually mattered. That's when the people who really cried at his funeral, who actually cared, are the ones who were there.
Yeah, they're the ones who wept, like, truly wept. Like, you see all of the workers who kind of cry and get emotional, but they really don't understand the full scope of what he did.
Yeah.
And it's like, to these women, like, go back, he was the first one who didn't ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
And actually did something. And it's like, through this whole time, he's like, I don't have time for this because I have to accomplish this. Like, another scene you get, and then it's like, Watanabe sees the beauty of a sunset, and he's like, I haven't seen one in 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't got time for this right now, though. Guys, I gotta keep building.
Yeah.
Takes a moment, but he's like, I gotta keep going.
I had a few kind of parts towards the end as we're getting here in reflection. One of them is I think one of the main questions this film asks is, I wrote this down. Would it be a gift to know when you would die? Would you act differently, and how? So that's one kind of section, and the other section is this implicit question of Watanabe made something of his life in 6 months because he knew he was going to die. What if you knew you were going to die? It's the memento mori kind of point, which is like, we have so much more time, but why don't we use it? Right. Same thing with these coworkers, right? They know that they have more time than he ever had to a certain extent, and they went on with it. They are still living the dead life. And what is that about?
Well, it goes on to what the whole title of the film is about.
Yeah.
Ikiru, to live. What does it mean to live? And we see it through capturing of different people. Of like, for the son, it's living for the capital. For the writer, it's to live for pleasure. And for the young girl, it's to accomplish something. She wants to be fulfilled by the joy that she builds. And for us, what do we want to live for? And it's like, you at the end of the film see only one of the coworkers kind of truly fully get what Watanabe did.
Yeah.
It's very similar to what the start of the film was, of the girls like pointing out the failures of this. And you have that one man who stands up and he's like, I'm kind of now getting it now.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't know if he will fully process that and go through with it. But it's like, it's kind of like a restarting of the film in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
What does it mean to live for us? And it's like, for me, it's like, what am I going to accomplish in my own life? For like, I remember being told years ago, we have on this earth a short amount of rope. You have like a little red end of rope here. What happens at the end? It keeps going. And you keep pulling that rope, you keep pulling that rope after that little red aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you have such short life here. What do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
Do you want to live for pleasure? Do you want to just live for the capital, live for the money? Do you just want to be a mummy and just work for the bureaucracy and live dead already? Or do you want to live? And what does it mean for you to live? Does it mean I want to just build bunnies because it connects me to every child in the world? Or is it, I want to actually help build this park that everyone's ignoring, everyone needs to, that somebody needs to help with?
Yeah.
And do it for these women. It's different for each person, I would say. But it's like, what do we live for?
Yeah. Well, and I think the thing that comes to my mind is, again, this kind of, I think of like during our time in probably like around middle school era, would have been what, like 2012 ish.
Yeah.
Like 2012, you had YOLO was like this huge kind of call to action for a generation, right? For a few years maybe. This, you only live once, and so it's like carpe diem would be another way of putting that, right? Like, seize the day.
Yeah.
But it always seemed to push towards, the writer's perspective, right? Of live this hedonistic life because you only get to experience it once, so just go for it.
Go parties, jump off planes, climb the mountains, go do the thrill, get the rush.
I don't know if people remember, but that was like the whole thing, right? Like, people would scream YOLO and then they would do something crazy, right? They would like jump off a car or something like that. Like,
jump over cars, do something that's thrilling, gives that heart rush, gives that dopamine. It's like YOLO.
Yeah.
Like, it goes into that anarchist kind of perspective of like, let's do whatever we want. Let's live a life of free hedonism, say what we want, do what we want, because screw the state.
Yeah.
And we want to do what we want to do.
Well, I'd say that's also what the coworkers do, right? There's a certain like YOLO
Yeah.
reaction to like we only live once, so like let's make a change. Let's like do it. But the flip, and it's very similar, but it's distinctual. It's distinctive. It's the memento mori, right? This like remember you die.
Yeah.
I think I mean multiple traditions have it. You have like the ancient Greek kind of like Marcus Aurelius kind of era. That's not really Greek, that's Roman, but like the memento mori, the Stoic memento mori. You have the Christian
Stoic ideas. Yeah.
You have the Christian memento
Like
mori.
how do you wake up each morning? How do you live each day?
Yeah.
And it's like, it to me is, in Catholicism you have sainthood.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you live to be a saint.
Yeah.
Like, what on your earth do you do to live for that? And there's a man who's soon to be canonized called Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati, who has a saying, "Verso alto," to the heights or to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how do you live each day? Are you climbing the mountain to get to just the top to see it? Or are you living for God to go to that mountain? Because he'll be running up those mountains, challenging people. Hey, if I beat you to this top, you go to mass with me. And he'll do that. And you bring them in through that. And he'd be serving the poor, serving all these people during this time. It's like, how do you live?
Yeah.
Like, you can do these really cool things, like climbing mountains, but it's like, what do you do it for?
Yeah. What is the meaning behind it? Like,
what's the meaning for this?
Yeah. The
like,
I mean, and this idea of memento mori is like across traditions, right? Like I mentioned, like there's this pagan kind of origin that kind of gets at it. There's the Christian side. There's also like the Buddhist tradition of memento mori as well, of this this kind of story of maybe it's more of an image of like as you walk through life, there's a bird on your shoulder that constantly is saying basically like you will die, and it's this constant reminder that I think just multiple cultures have recognized that in this, if you keep death close as a reminder, that will cause you to live, maybe not live better, but to help you reflect on what actually matters. Like, what is the meaning to all this? But if you try to keep death away, you will begin to lose sight of what actually matters. Yeah.
You always keep death on your side. As like, a best way to describe it is you have a healthy fear of death or a healthy respect for death.
Mm-hmm.
You respect it because you're like, I know I will see you one day.
Yeah.
It's like, acknowledge that it's going to happen. Don't be afraid of it. Like, you can have a fear of death, but a healthy fear of death. Like, because I respect you enough to know this is to come, but I shouldn't run away from you in fear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would see like a terrifying creature or something in the middle of the night and be like, run away. No, that's not how you treat death. You treat him as, I would say, kind of like go into like the Harry Potter thing of the three whole whatever they're called, I forget. But you got the man with the wand. You get the man with the all-powerful wand. Yeah. Dies because of duels. Death claims him. Then you have the man, the brother who has the stone who can bring back anyone who's dead. But when he brings them back, they're not fully who they are. Because they've already moved on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't bring back somebody from the dead. And so he ends up killing himself and death claims him. But the man who gets like the invisibility cloak of death hides from death for so many years, and then eventually he accepts death as his old friend.
Mm.
He comes to accept, oh, death is my friend, not my enemy. And he kind of gives that cloak to his son, but it's through his running from death, eventually he's able to accept, oh, no, death is my friend,
Yeah.
not my enemy.
There are two movies that kind of stuck out to me as like accompanying films. One is The Seventh Seal, and it's very much in line with a lot of that idea of this man who's running from death, and he doesn't feel like he's ready for it, and so he's trying to find out how to be prepared for death. Can you get any certainty about it? And then the other movie that came to my mind is Silence. This other kind of perspective on death as, how do I both stand up for what I believe in, but then also deal with coming death on me and then also people I love. Because in many ways, this movie was very personal, right? This is very much Watanabe's experience, but at the same time, it misses the fact that there is this effect on people around you, to a certain extent. When he's standing up to the Yakuza, they threaten him, but they don't threaten his family, right? So what does that look like towards the end? I think that would be something interesting to explore as well, and I think Silence kind of also touches on that side of things.
I agree. Yeah, it's definitely... It's a reason why it's one of my favorite films.
Mm-hmm.
It's captures very distinctly the idea of what it means to live. And it's one of the few films that does it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me at least, it's like a lot of films who show you, or like even songs, what does it mean to live like you're dying?
Yeah.
And it's like that song, that's a famous country song, and it's all just describing, I went skydiving, deep sea fishing, whatever. But there's only one part where he's like, I love deeper. And that's where you gotta connect into it.
Yeah.
It's like, to live like you're dying means you have to love deeper. And have a deeper love for everything around you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I think the only thing I have left is, I am curious to know your answer to some of these questions, right? Like, I said, would it be a gift to know when you would die? But would you want to know when you would die? And would you change the way you live differently based off of that?
Would I want to know? Not necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Would I be fine knowing? Is a better question. Yeah.
I would say not necessarily for that one too, personally. I'd be like, I don't know.
Like, I would be fine knowing,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't need to know.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, would it change me? No. No, I don't feel like it would. Because I have to make the change. I'm already making changes on my own. Change is slow, and like, if I want to make a change, I should make a change already, without knowing I'm gonna die.
See, I
would it speed up the process? Yeah, maybe, but
I identify very much with the coworkers personally. So my mind is like, oh yeah, I'm really good at kind of working up this this kind of view of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a change in my life. It's gonna be real. It's gonna be good. And then kind of like the next day comes and I'm just like, it's easier just to kind of fall into the normal pattern of things. And so I think there is a chance, right? And I think that's why Memento Mori kind of speaks out to me as like, this is something that like I probably should lean into more. This recognition of, death is the the fate of all mankind, and so maybe you should know it a little bit better or be familiar with it.
Yeah.
But
And I think for us, it's slower. That's why I said it would just speed up things for me
yeah,
and just put in more of a presentation of like, you're going to die. And I was like, okay, maybe I should speed up my changes a little bit faster and make more of a heightened change.
mm-hmm.
But if the change isn't already like, yeah, I don't think like I would like, it would make me want to change more. Like,
That's true.
There's already a desire to change.
Yeah.
And it's just like, because even Watanabe, I would say, is a character who wants to change, and he's felt dead for years. And it was just that was the spark for him to want to change.
I think it was a recognition that, it's easy to kind of put it off and say, like, I'll live as I do now, but someday I'll, when I retire or something, like, I'll actually live. I'll live then, but for now I'll be dead.
Yeah.
There's the not famous, it's not a famous story. There's a story of a monk. It's from the Desert Fathers, and he is praying, and the devil comes to tempt him and says, you're going to live for 60 more years, and you're going to be living here in this monastery for the rest of your life. Like you have 60 years left of life. So the monk realizes this, and he's like, oh gosh, that's a lot of time to be here. So what he does is he starts to pack up his things because he wants to go to the city and have fun while he can. And he knows he has 60 years, so, he can go and have fun, and then he can come back, and then he can repent of everything, and he can live the holy life later. And his father approaches him, his spiritual father approaches him and says, no, like, that's not for you. You're going to stay here, and you're going to be committed and loyal to the life that you lived. And so the monk stays there, and the next day he dies. And it's this realization that it was all a lie, that he only was going to live one more day. But the temptation was this idea that he was going to live for much longer.
Mm-hmm. It's very true.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I have anything left on my list to talk about. Did you have anything else that you wanted to bring up to kind of close us out, or?
No, it's just like you kind of touched on it. It's like, what is the whole meaning of this film? To live. And what does it mean to live? For an audience perspective, it's what Kurosawa does well in films. He makes you think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I would say with a lot of good filmographers. It makes you think. It makes you question things. It makes you have new ideas. And I would say this is, to me, one of his best examples. He uses a lot of things you don't see in other films he does.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a great example of film to me.
Yeah. And so maybe to close this out too, just to because there's an audience who's going to watch this later, but the goal of this project is our plan is to kind of go through Kurosawa's movies and films and do reflections like these for all the ones that we end up watching. Maybe that will be all of them, and then potentially write out a paper or make a YouTube video essay. We'll kind of figure out what that looks like, but to turn this into something. And so so that's our next kind of task.
Yep. More Kurosawa. I think, what do you think our next film should be with Kurosawa? I was either thinking it could be a good one with, I was thinking Ran
would be a solid.
Hiroshima.
That was actually the two I was thinking of. I'm not gonna lie. In my mind, I was like, it's gonna be Ran or Rashomon.
Yeah. See, that's why we think alike on these things.
I think Rashomon might be a good place. Ran is
it's a good one to this.
It's a little bit more simple, and we can process it a little bit more.
Yeah, But if I were to choose a samurai film to watch with you again, it would be Ran.
Yeah.
Because it's one of his first killer films.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's my favorite samurai film of Kurosawa's.
Yeah. It's very good.
It's just really fun to watch, and it's just like solid. I would say I liked it better
one of your
than
favorite movies. Ron is one of my favorite movies.
Well, yeah, I still think Ron is up there with it. It's like if I were to say favorite samurai film, Ron, easily. Like favorite action film, Ron. Like, but if it's like drama, slow, which I like watching, Ikiru.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, it's really good. But like, Ron, dude, it's like, I would say it's better than Seven Samurai.
I still haven't seen Seven Samurai, so I have a.
I'm biased. I just think Seven Samurai is good. It's very philosophy focused, and we'll talk about that hopefully at some point. But it's a long, old film. You gotta break it down in a couple sittings because it's like 3 hours if I remember right.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Not bad, but it also has one of my favorite. Because they're the reason I like this film. It also has my favorite actor in any Kurosawa films, and that is Takashi.
Fair.
And I just like him, as you now know from his facial expressions. Really good at that.
Yeah, he seems to have a knack for being able to choose like the right people for every role. Like it never feels like anybody is out of place. Like that's like, oh, that's just that person.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So
no, I just like Takashi as an actor and love his films though, because he appears in a lot of them.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll plan on writing up something for this, and then our next movie sounds like it will be Rashomon, and then maybe we'll go Ron after. We'll see how we feel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I think
that sounds good.
We'll call it now. Thank you all for joining and watching, and joining us in this conversation.
Have a good one. All right.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.